Hello students, in this session I am going to discuss noise pollution. Now noise pollution as a chapter is not as significant a chapter as air pollution, water pollution or land pollution is, but nevertheless it is a part of your syllabus. So although a very brief chapter, but still we'll look at the different aspects of this chapter, the areas from where a question can be formed in the examination. Now when I say noise pollution is not considered to be the biggest threat, because whenever we discuss pollution we either talk about air or we talk about water, or in cases we talk about land pollution. But noise pollution is not something that we generally discuss. One of the reasons is also the fact that it is very subjective. Something which is noise for you may not be noise for me. So it is a pollution, it is a kind of pollution which can cause physical damage, which can cause mental damage, and it can even cause damage to the ecosystem. So we'll have a discussion on all these factors. Now, so what happens is, so although it's not considered to be the biggest threat, but definitely it is a problem that affects human health and can contribute to various kinds of deterioration of environmental quality as well. So the thing is, as we discussed, that when we say pollution, first of all we need to discuss what is noise. So we'll try to define what is noise and what is noise pollution. So in very simple terms, if I say noise, what is noise? Any undesirable or unwanted sound. So if I have to define noise, noise can be defined as any unwanted or undesirable. So that's why not all sound can be considered as noise. As we said, that something which can be music for some person can become noise for another one, right? You must have all heard of electronic dance music, right? So for the people who love EDM, it is music for them. For everyone else, it's noise. So anyway, I'll not go into that discussion, it's just a joke. So it is not a substance that can accumulate in the environment, right? Noise is not something which will accumulate in the environment like most of the other pollutants, but it will cause some kind of problems with you. It can be a mental problem, it can become a physical problem, it can just be an anxiety that can be caused due to this kind of pollution, but nevertheless it is a kind of pollution. So when we say noise pollution has been listed out under Air Prevention and Control of Pollution Act of 1981 as one of the sections of air pollution. So what exactly does it say? So here we are discussing Air Prevention and Control of Pollution Act 1981. So under this act, noise pollution has been listed out under section 2A. So under section 2A we see that it has been named as one of the air pollutants. So what exactly is this section 2A of Air Act 1981? What does it say? So basically section 2A defines air pollution, and it says that air pollution means any solid, liquid or gaseous substance which can include noise present in the atmosphere in such concentration that may be injurious to health of human beings or other living creatures or plants or property or even environment. So what exactly does it say? If we have to define air pollution under section 2A, so it says any solid, liquid or gaseous substance including noise present in the atmosphere in such concentration as may be injurious to humans, other organisms, environment or property. So this is how section 2A has defined air pollution, and here only if you see, noise as a keyword has been mentioned. So that's why noise pollution is included as a part of air pollution. Now there are several sources of noise pollution that contribute to both indoor and as well as outdoor noise pollution. So it can be noise coming from factories, noise coming from vehicles, noise coming from let's say playing of loudspeakers during various festivals, all or otherwise as well. And as a part of indoor noise pollution, we can talk about loudly playing music systems, other electronic gadgets which can produce some kind of noise, and that's why they contribute to indoor noise pollution. So next, let's have a look at what are the effects of noise pollution on physical health. So the very first thing, the most direct harmful effect of excessive noise is physical damage to the ear, correct? And apart from that, there can be temporary or permanent hearing loss, which is often called as temporary threshold shift. Temporary threshold shift, or in short it is called as TTS. So people who are suffering from this condition are unable to detect sounds which are weak. But what happens is the hearing ability is usually recovered within a month's exposure. For example, in Maharashtra, people who are living in the vicinity of areas where Ganesh festival is usually celebrated, they are usually known to suffer from this particular phenomena. Now there is a possibility of even more severe effect, and that can be a permanent loss, and this is called as noise induced permanent threshold shift, or NIPTS. So this basically represents a loss of hearing ability from which there is no recovery. So if let's say the sound level is below 80 dBA, if it is less than 80 dBA, then in that case the hearing loss does not occur at all. So here I can say that there is no hearing loss, but a temporary effect can be noticed at sound levels which is at a level more than 80 but less than 130. So if the noise level is between 80 to 130 dBA, in that case there is a possibility of temporary damage. Now if people are exposed to a sound level of more than 95 dBA, 50% chances are that these people will get affected with NIPTS or a permanent damage. Now if the sound level has been above 105 dBA, they will definitely experience a permanent hearing loss up to some degree. And if the sound level is more than 150 dBA, in that case there can be a physical rupture of the human eardrum. So if it is more than 150 dBA, there can be rupture of the human eardrum. So this is the scenario. So the degree of hear loss depends on the duration as well as the intensity of noise. So either if the duration is very large or the intensity is very large, then there is a possibility of some kind of hear loss happening. So for example, 1 hour of exposure to 100 dBA sound level can produce a TTS that may last for about 1 day. But if you talk about factories with noisy machinery, etc., they are subjected to higher sound levels for several hours a day. So exposure to 95 dBA, as we discussed, for 8 hours every day for let's say a period of 10 years or more, it may cause hearing loss or a permanent loss of about 15 dBA. About 15 dBA. So in addition to hearing losses, excessive sound level can also cause harmful effects on the circulatory system by raising the blood pressure or by altering the pulse rate of the human. So all these kind of things are associated with the human health, or you can say the physical health of humans. Then the next one that we have is the effect on mental health. So first of all, noise can cause emotional or psychological effect such as irritability, anxiety, stress, etc. So irritability, anxiety, stress. So all these kind of things can be induced. Apart from that, lack of concentration and mental fatigue are also significant health effects of noise pollution. So we are also talking about lack of concentration and mental fatigue. So what has been observed is that the performance of school children is poor in comprehension tasks where the school is situated in busy areas of a city and the school suffers from noise pollution. So as the noise interferes with the normal auditory communication, it may mask auditory warning signals and hence it can increase the rate of accidents, especially in the industries as well. Apart from that, noise pollution can also lead to lowered work efficiency as well as productivity, and it can also lead to more accident or higher accident rates on the job. So that's why noise pollution is not just a nuisance, or it's not just an annoyance, it's more than that. It definitely affects the quality of life. So it is very important that we ensure strategies to mitigate noise pollution or control noise pollution, right? So next, we also have to look at the effect of noise pollution on ecosystem. Now, you all know that most animals are incredibly sensitive to noise and flee sometimes if the noise is too loud for their liking. So almost all the wild animals have a survival instinct, so that they run away whenever they see something unfamiliar. So to avoid noisy areas, the animals change their behavior, and this can impact the food chain. You can say the predator prey relationship in an area can change because of noise pollution. So, and not only that, now it's not only the large animals or mammals etc which get disturbed by noise pollution. Insects can also get disturbed by it. Insects, and as we all know, insects are a functional part of the ecosystem, and if their habits and behaviors are changed because of noise pollution, it can set off a chain reaction for the rest of the ecosystem, and this can lead to reduction of certain species, or it can lead to, you can say, disappearance of certain species, or increase of other species in a given area. And in either the case, there will be an imbalance, as it disrupts the natural order of the area, and that's why it can have a ripple effect that can spread across an area or across an ecosystem in a given area. So this is the effect that noise pollution has on the ecosystem. Next, let's have a look at the noise control techniques. In very simple terms, there are four fundamental ways in which noise can be controlled. First of all, reduce the noise at source. So the first technique can be reduce the noise at source. Then the next one can be to block the path of the noise. So then the third part is to increase the path length. What can we do? We can increase the path length. So this will basically ensure that the noise gets distributed due to the losses that would happen while it travels in air, correct? And then the last one can be to protect the recipient of noise pollution. So these can be four techniques to look into the fact that noise pollution can be reduced or controlled. So in general, the best control method is to reduce the noise level at source itself. Instead of looking at all the other curative methods, this is a way which can make sure that there is no noise pollution at all. Now, even the traffic volume or the speed has significant effects on overall sound. For example, if you double the speed, the sound levels are actually increasing by about 9 dBA. And the other scenario is if you increase or double the amount of vehicles that are there in a given locality, the sound level would increase by approximately 3 dBA. So obviously a smooth traffic causes lesser noise pollution as compared to traffic which has a stop and go approach. So proper highway planning has to be done. A proper infrastructure design is also important for the highways and the infrastructure, so that we can control the traffic and hence control noise pollution. Also, establishing lower speed limits for highways that pass through residential areas, that would also limit the traffic volume. And apart from that, we can also try to provide alternative routes to the trucks, which can also reduce the noise pollution in a given area. Not only this, the path of traffic noise can also be blocked by a construction or a vertical barrier alongside the highway. So here one of the suggestions can be planting of more and more trees around the houses, that can also act as an effective noise barrier. If I have to discuss about the industries, in industries different types of absorbative material can be used to control the interior noise, right? So higher absorbative material finish would ensure that there is lesser noise in the or inside the factory. So indoor noise pollution can be curbed in this particular manner significantly. So this can be one of the ways. So here we are talking about the blocking of the path of noise. The next thing that we have is increasing the path length. And then finally you can protect the recipient. How can you do that? We can make the use of earplugs. We can make the use of ear muffs. These can protect individuals effectively from noise pollution. Especially designed ear muff can reduce the sound level reaching the eardrum by as much as 40 dBA. But very often the workers tend to not wear them on a regular basis despite the company requirements for their use, and that leads to some kind of physical problems with the people who are working in these conditions. So next, so what are the noise standards that we have in India as per the notification of Environmental Protection Act 1986? So the Central Pollution Control Board constituted a committee on noise pollution control. The committee recommended noise standards for ambient air for automobiles, domestic appliances and construction equipments, which were later notified in Environment Protection Rules 1986, and these were the codes that were given for the industrial area, for commercial areas, residential area, and for the silent zone, the limit for day and night. So basically when I say day here means 6 a.m. to 9 p.m. and night means 9 p.m. to 6 a.m. So this is the limit that has been given to the amount of noise which is permissible. So there have been many steps that have been taken by the government as well. For example, in March 2011, the Central Pollution Control Board established the first part of noise pollution monitoring network in 35 major cities. And this included cities like Delhi, Mumbai, Kolkata, Hyderabad, Bengaluru, all these were there, Chennai, Lucknow, all these areas were included in the list. The system basically is a part of the National Environmental Policy which was adopted back in 2006. So it is expected that by the establishment of the second and the third parts, the number of locations to be monitored will also increase up to 160 cities. So this is what happened back in 2011. Apart from this, under the Environment Protection Act, the central government also came up with land pollution control rules which came out in 2000, and they were to be implemented once they got published in the official gazette. So these rules, if I talk about, these rules basically were meant for some of these. First was implementation of noise standards in different zones or areas, something that we saw. So implementation of, you can write it down, implementation of noise standards for different zones. Then apart from that, to restrict the use of loudspeakers, this was the second point that was raised, restrict the use of loudspeakers. Then apart from that, the third rule that we had was to restrict the overuse of horns, sound creating equipments for construction as well as firecrackers. So restrict the overuse of horns, construction equipments and firecrackers. This was the third one. And then apart from that, the last one that we have is to allocate responsibility to state pollution control boards or committees and the Central Pollution Control Board for collection, for processing and for providing the statistical data about the noise pollution, so that we can take adequate measures that can prevent or control the noise pollution, right? So this is a brief about noise pollution in every way that we wanted to discuss. Be very thorough with the current affairs of all these areas, whether it's air pollution, land pollution, water pollution, climate change, noise pollution. All these things can become much more important for you as and when they come in the newspapers, when they become a part of your current affairs. All the basics that were required with respect to pollution, that all I have given you. I have not touched much of current affairs, only a few topics which form the crux of the entire discussion of pollution. Those are the areas that I touched. But most of the current affairs, you have to do it from the webinars, you have to do it from the comprehensive news analysis which is being given to you and add up to the topics that we have discussed in this entire module of pollution. So this is where I'll end noise pollution. Thank you.